So we're continuing with our plumbing. We've got to put a couple of shut-off valves in, a couple of clips to hold the pipes, and a couple of liners. I don't know if anybody knew this, but you can actually fasten two of these together. You can probably just about see there. So you get a little peg on that one and a little hole on that one. That allows you to fasten them together. So they're firmly fixed. Just now got to get them undone. There we go. So we can put individual pipes into them and then obviously route them in. So at the moment what I've just been doing is I've just been clipping up the ones here, taking it down and across. We've got a couple of non-returns there, and at the ends here I'm going to be mounting those pipe clips there with the shut-off valves at the end. So that gives us a nice firm fitting there and down the end, and then we'll fit our isolators on the end, and then obviously they need to be attached to our flexes. Not sure which way they're going to go at the moment because we still need a fitting from the end of the flexes down to the 12mm pipe. Be contacting our supplier for them, and then hopefully we'll be able to say that this end is complete. As you can see, we've got us plumbing in there for the micro bore, which is this, and that's going to be the one for our tap. That's the fresh water tap. Do it again, and this time we're going to be fitting the waste for our sink. So we'll take a look at that. So there's our waste and our emptying bowl or catch bowl. We're then going into that section there, and we've got a converter there that will take us down to our 20mm lined pipe. And we're just going to be cutting a hole in the floor somewhere here to match down to our waste tank that's underneath. So that's our project for today. So let's crack on. So I've just been under the van and we've brought through a drill bit. It's not big enough in diameter yet to incorporate our waste pipe, but take it a bit bigger with our next size up and continue with that until we do get a point where we can get this pipe out towards the tank that's situated underneath the van. So as you can see, we've now slightly enlarged the hole. Still won't fit. So what we're going to have to do is going to have to use this tool in there to enlarge that hole more until we get to a point where it will easily go through. The problem with it being a cone is that it will not cut the larger sections here. So what we'll do is we'll cut as much as we can out here, and then we'll go underneath and come up from underneath to enlarge it further to make this pipe go through. So we've now got this side as the right size. So all we need to do is go underneath and do the same underneath, enlarging that hole so we can get that pipe all the way through. So we've now got ours feed through the floor. We've left a little bit of slack on the pipe because we've got a drawer that's going to go in here. So now we've got that in place, we can now look at the false floor that's in this section here. It'll allow us to get the heater pipe underneath. So we've now got our outlet down there. And what we're going to be doing is bringing our trunk in from our Troma into that area. Going to have to fasten these to the floor as well. So what we've decided is to do a vertical one for our charging station. So what we're going to be doing is putting that into that position so that hopefully we'll get a 90 degree. I'll take it off that line there. There we go. That will bring us down to there. And then we've got our 3 other holes to drill. Now as they're all going to be 12 volt, we haven't got a lot of voltage in the cupboard. So as long as everything's clipped together and secured, I don't think we're going to have any problem. So now we've got the first one in, all we've got to do is drill the other 3, and then we'll go around the back and we'll have a look at the fittings on that. What we decided to do is to drill out the holes. And we drill and drill and drill until we get to a point where there's nothing left in the middle. Now the good thing about wiring these in is that we're going to be wiring into the centre one and taking a feed off on each. They've got plus and minus on, so it should be fairly simple to do that. And then we'll go with this cone cutter, and what we'll do is we'll drill out from the centre because we've removed so much of that wood, it's fairly easy. And then if I go around the back, so taking it out that way means that we can even out the steps from the cutter. So then next to the largest one, and when we get to the next large one, we know we're nearly there. I got to a point where we can almost fit in the sockets. So USB going in next. Just won't clear because at either side we've got a large hole, but in the middle the step cutter doesn't take out the middle. So this bit I use for milling out aluminium and steel, but it's ideally suited to just enlarge that, smooth it out. By doing it a small bit at a time. And that's a tight fit, but I want a little bit of movement. as it goes in quite easily, which it does. It does on the top one, does on the bottom, just the middle one's sticking out a bit more. But if these holes have moved slightly, so they won't fit perfectly, if I've made the holes a little bit bigger, I've got some wiggle room. There we go. So again, there's wiggle room. So all we want now is the complete panel with the sockets in, and we'll fit them. So another little tug test means that they won't come off, and if they did come off when I tugged them, they weren't tight enough to form a joint. Amperage on this isn't great, so it's only taking out a small amount of power. It's only taking out 2.1 amp, so 5 volt, so it's not taking a lot of power out of that, so it won't burn out the power that's in there. Now what we do have, we have Wagos to join them up. So again, you're going to be using the little Wagos to join each one up. I'm just working out which way to go and how much to leave. Just trying to get them all the same length. So that's our earth stump. So all of them are joined together with the Wago. And now we'll do the same with the far ones. So what we'll do is use the Wagos to join these together, and then we'll use the Wagos to join it onto our feed, and then we'll have one feed going to all 3 sockets. So we've got, obviously we've got to fasten this into that board, but once that's done we can test that and make sure it works. So you probably just about see here we've got our flush fit. So at the top we've got 12 volt, 24 volt, we've got a USB and another USB. So quite literally we've got quite a bit of power output there, and it's snugly there because we know that at some point the lippet bed frame will come down here. We just want to make sure that it's out of the way and it's not going to interfere with things that are planned to come next. So that's that side done. So these are held on by a collar, and all 3 of these have a collar that will lock the sockets onto the backs. So we've now plugged in our 12 volt. We've got his little pulver. It works. So we've got power up to this socket now, so that we can hoover up, clean up after all the cutting and drilling. So good job done there, I think. So both of the USBs have got blue lights. I'm not sure if the GoPro's picking this up, but there's a blue light down there on both of them, just to let you know that they are powered up. So we'll take a look at some of the electrical equipment or tools that you may need while you're doing your van build. So first off, obviously you're going to need some wire, and the cable that we've been using on the van is basically 2mm. The 2mm is sufficient for the 12-volt system. So it comes in a 50-meter roll, or you can get it shorter or longer if you wish. But we've used the red and the black because that seems easy and it's simple enough in the van. Now to connect these, what we can do is we can use several different connectors. And what you've seen us use on most of it is the for connecting them wires, then you could use the Wagos that we've used. These are a nice little connectors. And what you're going to be doing is basically putting your wire into this end, snapping down the locking mechanism, putting another wire in, snapping that, so you've then got two wires. Put another wire in, and so on. Now that's a 5. They do singles, which is joining two wires together. Very similar to we've got that. They've got the 2s, the 3s, the 4s and the 5s. What we've tended to do on our build is we've used the ended ones if we're joining one wire to another. We put it in areas where we think that we may have to separate it again. And we've used the 5s for the multiples, like on our 12-volt socket system. Now if you are joining your wires up and you're going to solder them, then you need something to insulate it from the outside. So to rebuild that insulation, what we'd recommend is the shrink heat tubing. These come in a different size for different wires. They do start down at 2 and 3mm and they go all the way up to 10. You can get bigger if you wish, but we've used these on areas where we've cut the wires and soldered them because we know it's a permanent joint, and then we've recovered these and heat shrink over the top. So a simple and cheap one is this one. It's got holes at the bottom to allow you to strip the wires and holes at the top to allow you to crimp on fittings. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be finding out the colours that you want, place the fitting into there and simply crimp it up, squashing the outside area onto your wire. And again, just do that little bit of a tug test to make sure it is actually fitted properly. Now moving on from them, stripping the wires in a different way, is this one. So this one, you basically put the wire in there, you pull that down and it pulls off the outside and leaves the bare wire in the centre. So that's just one option. I've got this option which I've used. It's a Clark one, so it's a decent make, and this does exactly the same. You put your wire in across this area, you squeeze it, and it basically pulls off the outside and leaves a nice clean inner, so you're not damaging the inside core of that cable. And then lastly, what I've been using to crimp up most of the wiring on our van build is these. Again, it's a different make, but it does exactly the same. So you're going to be putting, if you're going to use a blue one, it brings it into that top section, and then what you're doing is just squeezing that together. There we go. And once it's squeezed together, it will release. Now it doesn't release until you've actually done the squeeze. So if you do have to release it, there's a little trigger down here if you've made a mistake. There we go. So we just run through a few of the tools and equipment that we've used today and over the past build of the van.
These aren't the full range, but obviously it's down to you to choose which tool or equipment that you would require. So as always, if you do like what you've seen today, we would appreciate the thumbs up, and if you would subscribe, then obviously it will help the format of the channel. But that's about it for today. We're going to be moving on to more things tomorrow, so see you there. Bye for now.